Welcome to The Naomi Show.
Hello, I'm Naomi Robson and I'm joined today by psychologist Eve Ash, who's written a book called Rewrite Your Relationships. It's all about how to turn your negative thoughts into positive scripts and create the relationships you want. And you talk about rewriting your life, don't you? Rewriting your relationship. What do you mean by that?
Well, we all have thoughts in our heads, and it's really about the self-talk, and we have the voice going on and on and on about I'm good at this, I'm not good at that, I can do this, I can't do that. And sometimes we paint ourselves into a very negative position about people, about relationships and about situations, and they become embedded in our mindset. And so in this book, Rob Durand and I talk about the kind of scripts that you have that you can turn around. And there's all sorts of things that we do to sabotage relationships or sabotage ourselves if we're single and we want to perhaps start internet dating, for example.
Yes. Well, you actually talk about internet dating, don't you, in the book. What are some of the elements of internet dating that you cover so that people get a bit of an idea of what they're getting?
I guess it's the mindset that you go into it with. It's not a physical how to actually get on the net and do it. There's plenty of help with that. It's more about the mindset, because I've really noticed that a lot of people, and especially women, have a real fear of doing something like internet dating because they're fearful of, you know, being in a dangerous situation or that they'll be considered a loser. So it really looks at how you can go in with a really positive mindset, and even just the whole mindset about being single is one where we can either put ourselves down or feel really good about it. And I think we need to help people feel fantastic, because otherwise they're not going to be a good space to get into a relationship.
Well, that's right, isn't it? You need to sort of create a positive mindset about yourself, no matter where you are in the dating cycle. And if you're single particularly, you need to have a good attitude to it, don't you?
Exactly.
You talk about managing conflict in the book as well, because obviously people are in relationships and conflict is something that's going to come up occasionally.
Yeah, and it sadly can come up for a lot of people too much of the time, and they haven't actually got the skills to manage their differences. And yet a relationship that does have conflict, where you actually manage it well, is just a wonderful one to be in, because there's energy, there's passion, and there's reasonable problem-solving skills, and so you grow to a higher level. So I think conflict can be great, and if it's managed well, it's just going to make
balance, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Really? Yeah.
Exactly.
Obviously, conflict is something that can escalate and get way out of control in relationships. And managing that and at least being able to address the issues that have caused the conflict is really key, isn't it?
It is, and a lot of it is about learning that we can do more changes with ourselves than trying to change our partner. Yes. A lot of people spend too much time trying to push the other person to be somebody that they're not.
Now, you also talk about keeping your relationship fresh. Now, this is an issue that a lot of people in relationships may want to read, simply because, you know, you get into a relationship after a couple of years, a little bit of staleness can creep in, can't it? And that's totally common and perfectly natural, but it would be nice to keep things fresh, wouldn't it?
It would be, and I guess we don't see our relationships often as projects, you know, and I think some people at work are constantly doing things to innovate and to come up with new ideas, but they actually don't do it with their own relationship. And I think, you know, we've suggested a number of ideas and strategies and the way you think, but I'm sure that you could probably start something on your site.
Yes, exactly.
For great ways to keep...
How to keep it fresh.
Yeah.
But, and obviously you cover sex in that as well. Yeah. So what are some of the areas in the sexual department that what things people can do to keep things fresh?
Well, I guess one thing that often happens in a relationship, in the early days, people seem to have sex all over the place, and then as the relationship progresses, it's always in the same place.
Yes,
so, you know, they can look at things that they could do a little differently. You know, they tend to get into a routine, which on the one hand is quite good because it then works for people, because women especially tend to get very distracted by things that aren't properly all the right temperature and the right you know,
Yes.
the right sheets, the right music, the right, you know, whatever. So, you know, creating variation can be great.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And the mindsets for meeting new people, you're saying don't succumb to a victim mindset and think that it's all too hard. Take control, learn to be open, confident and active. It's a really key one, isn't it? Because when people are single, one of the things, and if they're struggling in that department, they may have had a couple of disappointments, the one thing they don't want to do,
their confidence is knocked. And we know that there's a lot of research that confidence and persistence are what makes people successful. And yet they're the two things that get knocked really quickly when you've had a bit of a setback. And so a lot of what we write about is the way that you can have setbacks but then get through them quickly.
Fantastic. Well, it's a great read. Thank you, Eve. It's called Rewrite Your Relationships by Eve Ash. Grab a copy. And we'll see you next time.
Your love life, let's talk about it at naomishow.com.